there, Aquarius. Welcome to your end of October 2025 General Tarot Update. It's Rena here. I haven't done this approach with any other sign. So, oh, two cards. I'm going to use both of them. Two cards came out again. Lots of cards coming out here. I'm going to use this as the outcome card. Wow. You also got a lot of major arcana cards here. It's amazing. Major arcana cards are about more significant events than just like day-to-day stuff. So it can suggest that there's a lot that is on the horizon, a lot of important things happening. The heart of the matter is the Page of Cups, which is a card of like, well, you see that fish jumping out. This can be connected to Pisces, but it's about this innocence. And I don't know if this would be considered a young woman, definitely a young woman, but could even be a girl because it can be about children. But it's the innocence of a child, and it is the early stages of love or, you know, some sort of relationship. But sometimes it can be that a person is being naive about a love situation. And Aquarius is one of those signs, like I was thinking, well, I can't really say that about Aquarius, can I? Because Aquarius, they're so intelligent, right? But a Sun in Aquarius person can have Neptune in Pisces, and it's like all over, because you could be the kind of person that you're so on the ball mentally with a lot of things, and then when it comes to love, you're just gone. Or maybe you have the moon in Pisces. And there's sometimes people, and when I do private astrology readings, I will see how people have, you know, like hard angles from Venus to Neptune. That's another big one. Or from the moon to Neptune, where there's distortion there. And it's like, which is sad because the person has a lot of love to give, but sometimes they just tend to fall in love with the wrong person. And it can be a pattern, you know. In the past situation, we have the Fool card. Now, usually I talk about the Fool card in terms of something really new, a new path that you're on. And by the way, this card is connected to Uranus, which is your ruler. But in this case, because of the Page of Cups, I am thinking of a literal fool. And by the way, I don't mean that in a disparaging way. I mean, there's an archetype called the Holy Fool, where, you know, you could even say like the village idiot, but it's like this innocent individual that has the heart of a child, but because of that, they have a tendency to get cheated by others. And this could be how your heart is, that you're very open, and that you do have a lot of love to give, but it has to be to the right person in terms of like a personal relationship. Yes, to humanity as a whole, but not at that deep level of involvement, you know, because then that can lead to a lot of issues. But, you know, another theme that I'm seeing here is with work matters, because the Fool can be something that you're embarking upon that you've never done before. And maybe this has to do, if you've had a spiritual awakening, and or maybe you've even trained for something spiritually and you're getting ready to, start a business with it. It might be like because the higher message is about choosing between maybe two careers. And maybe you're even thinking about traveling. Perhaps it's for spiritual reasons, for training or for inspiration, just like a retreat or something like that. And this is like a new path for you. Yeah, as a matter of fact, one of the cards that cross you is the Hermit, and that is about solitude, possibly, going within, but also it can be the person who is looking for those answers for your life, but you know that you have to find them within yourself. But the reason it might be in the challenge position is because you're a social person and you're not spending enough time in solitude. So there may be like a yearning with the Two of Wands to go somewhere where it's going to be enforced solitude, like a monastery, or I don't know, someplace where you can do spiritual reflection and study, like a retreat center, Vipassana meditation, which is a 10-day program. But there was another card that came up too that challenged you, the King of Pentacles. So if you have been on a roll financially, you may be like, I don't want to do this thing because it's like I'm doing so well. Why would I change course? But there may be a very important reason that transcends just like material concerns, especially if you have already made a good amount of money and you don't really need it. But the other thing too is that if you are trying to start an artistic business, like a creative type of business or a spiritual business, and you have the Capricorn influences, being close to Capricorn, maybe the, you know, Mercury in Capricorn or Mars in Capricorn, you're like, I have to make the money. Then you may disregard your soul's yearning, with the Page of Cups to do that. And that might be something that really is unfortunate because you could be having some like beautiful experiences and you may have something to give the world that is very important. What is coming in is the Five of Wands. This is a card of conflict or a card of what do you call it, like competition. So maybe there is like some conflict within. This is why it's important, if you have certain plans, you might not want to share them with people that are close to you because they may not understand what you're going through. If you feel, Aquarius, that you're going through like a spiritual awakening, for instance, and all of a sudden the things that matter to you don't seem to matter, other people who are used to that other version of you are going to think you went crazy or something because they only remember, the side of you that's like that. So it's really important that you are able to make your decisions without people, giving their 2 cents, which may have nothing to do with your particular situation. I'm not saying that you can't ask anyone their opinion, especially if you really value it. But if you just are careless about it, then you may get people who are naysayers who don't and it's not because they don't want you to be happy. They might just be so conventional in their thinking they can't imagine another type of life. And we have here the Knight of Pentacles. You may be, I've been getting this card over and over again, and I keep saying, because this is connected to Taurus, it might have something to do with that full moon in Taurus, perhaps. That one for you is going to be in your home sector, so it's not necessarily about your career, although it is true that at that time the sun will be in that 10th house of your career, so it might be opposing it and like challenging it. But the Knight of Pentacles is a card that is connected to being very steadfast in your work. Like rather than mailing it in and just like, oh, I don't want to be here at this job, so I'm going to just like not do my best work, give my best effort. It's really about being very consistent and being very responsible and reliable and that kind of thing. Because no matter what you decide to do, you are going to leave on a good note. If this is about love, this can be someone that is somebody that can really put your faith in because they're going to be there for you. So you have the Page of Cups and the Knight of Pentacles. And so there may be that sense of the knight who is, it's not that you need to be rescued by this knight, but maybe that they are the kind of person who is very solid, like a solid citizen, not like a flake, not somebody who's going to be there one day and then gone the next. And the outcome is the Temperance card, the Earth Angel, 1 foot in water, 1 foot in land, one part of you in the spiritual and one in the material. Very important, especially if you feel like you're going through any changes or starting some new cycle in your life, because being too immersed in the physical can take you away from the bigger picture spirituality of the, I said spirituality of the situation, and vice versa. If somebody is like having a spiritual awakening, but they're just like totally out to lunch, ungrounded materially, how can they anchor their higher state of consciousness? How can they manifest it or bring it down to something that can help others in a practical sort of way? It's impossible. So you have to really harmonize both sides of yourself in whatever the situation represents. Like even if it's a budding romance, and maybe you're deciding between two people and you're like, I don't know, like which one, it's important to really look at it from both angles, from the spiritual. Like, do you feel like you can be spiritual partners? Do you feel like you can help one another spiritually? Or is the other person more geared towards the material and therefore they're not really going to be able to respect your spiritual side? So this, actually the Temperance card is connected to Sagittarius, in case, because the Two of Wands, it might be like a Sag. All right, that's what I have for you, Aquarius. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.